Hey, for anyone who just got in, I'm Nick. Just had to make a quick adjustment to the live stream stuff. I made a few mistakes. But anyways, welcome to first Q&A of this channel. Wait for more people to get in before we start anything major. So just sit, hang out, talk with anyone who happens to enter, and I'll be back in a minute. We'll check on more people. All right, I am back. To anyone who just got in, welcome to Nick's Topics first Q&A. Sorry for those of you who entered and came back and everything like that. Made a mistake or two. But anyways, here, these videos, unlike my anniversary videos, are going to be 20 minutes instead of 15, which my anniversary for 2 years on this channel will be coming up in about 2-3 weeks. So stay tuned for that. And on here, rules are simple. Basically, we can chat, but the main goal of the Q&A, as any Q&A obviously, is to just get as many what-if ideas as you can within the 20-minute period. And as long as they're viable for me saving in the future, I'll put them in. But other than that, not too much else to say. So, whoever enters, chat, do anything like that, and recommend more what-ifs so we can increase the world of what-ifs together. Although you can chat in the Q&As, as many people I feel who do Q&As can, the main goal is to increase the number of what-ifs for this channel and to increase the popularity of said channel. So, let us begin. Anyone who is in the chat at the moment, if you can think of any what-if ideas, whether they are shows or movies that I have covered previously or ones that I've yet to cover, put them in the comments of this live chat here, and we shall get started. What if the governor joined Negan? As a matter of fact, Sky Prison, I did do that one near the beginning of my channel. It was about a year ago, but that one was about 4 minutes. And even though it got over 7,000 views, which I very much appreciate, I am going to be making a remake after What If Madison's Family Joined Rick. That is the next one on my list. What If the Governor Joined Negan remake? Because I made it into a full story rather than a video, because I was just starting topics at the time. So the remake will come to that. You should check out the old version. It's near the beginning of my channel. What if Merle survived? Braden Douglas, I have made Merle survive before in the past, but focusing on him solely, I don't know if you saw the schedule or not when I made the 500 subs commemoration about a month ago, but one of the what ifs I teased was something someone else recommended me. It was what if Merle survived instead of Daryl, which means Daryl goes and fights the governor and dies, and Merle becomes the new Daryl. So essentially, that's kind of like your idea. But other than that, I've made Merle survive in other stories. So if you want to focus on Merle as a sole character, you can either check out my What If Merle met Negan instead of the governor, or stay tuned for What If Merle lived instead of Daryl. So it's really up to you. It depends, because I don't have any Merle-based what ifs besides those two specifically. One isn't even made yet. But anyways, good ideas so far. Anyone who's coming in and joining in and everything, welcome. Let's see what ifs we can bring to the table. They can be The Walking Dead, Lord of the Rings, Dragon Ball, any show or movie you can think of that's within like a franchise-built reason. So that way, I don't cover single movies. I cover like franchises, if you get what I'm saying. Which is why Lord of the Rings is up there. And like Marvel and crap. The Walking Dead doesn't have movies. It's just a built-in franchise. Dragon Ball has movies, but that's also a built-in franchise. They kind of expanded that. But anyways, doesn't have to just be The Walking Dead, even though that was the start of my channel. It can be anything and everything that you could think of that's within a built franchise reason. But I do like The Walking Dead ideas, though. Let's just try and expand the ideas a little further, if we can. But, yeah, Walking Dead ideas are all right. So, let's see here. That's all we got for the moment. So, we'll just wait for now. What if Ricks join the different route? Huh? I'm sorry, Sky Prison, you're going to have to explain. I don't get the question. What if Ricks join the different route? You're going to have to explain. Braden Douglas, what if Glenn died at Terminus? I've made Glenn die in earlier stories. Yes, I cover anime. What if Glenn died at Terminus? Well, Glenn was kind of crucial for earlier parts. So, getting rid of him, in that sense, so late in the story into season 5, I feel like the story would remain kind of the same. I don't know. I'll have to write that down. Give me a sec. All right, I'm back. What if Glenn died at Terminus? In that sense, it could make for a compelling story. And since I'm using my phone for the live stream, I can't put the ideas in my quick memo on my phone. So I'm going to have to write them down, and I haven't written anything down for a long time. I'm thinking of actually extending the Q&As to 30 minutes. I'll just have to fix the description, because you could get some pretty good ideas in 30 minutes. 20 minutes feels too short. So anyone who joins and just heard that wrong, and just know it will be 30 minutes. All right, so what if Glenn died at Terminus? That actually is a pretty decent idea. I never thought of Glenn dying in that sense. And I've had him die in pretty significant ways. What if Carl never got shot? Noodle365, I did make that what if. It's just earlier on in my channel, so it's probably like a year ago at this point. You just have to find it. So that one is already covered. Sky Prison, do you cover anime different group? I don't know if those two things are unrelated. Yes, I cover anime, but If different group means like you were referring to what if Rick went with another group, you're going to have to explain the plot a little bit more on that one. Sorry. What if Rick's group found the kingdom instead of Alexandria? Well, to be frank, I have covered what if Rick found Negan instead of Alexandria, and that was compelling enough, and I even am going to be making a remake of that in the future, believe it or not, and that one's already pretty dang popular. It's one of the most popular vids on my channel besides What If Negan and the Governor Met. But as for them finding the kingdom, I had thought of that at first, but that's kind of hard, honestly. Even joining the hilltop, I feel that he would have either had to join Negan or just Alexandria. I can't think of another situation where it would make a compelling story. So sorry about that. What if, Rick, you are the different group? Oh, I think I get what you're saying a little bit. Like, what if Rick from like season 1 or something joined a different group instead of going back with his family? Well, in that case, if that's what you mean, what if Rick joined the Saviors? Okay. Well, to be frank, it depends on when you talk about. Because you could be referring to either whenever he was at the lineup and everything, he'd be forced to join them. And if he was actually able to join them, at that point, any group would be screwed because Rick is already friggin' sick enough. But being on any other side beside his families would just blow everything. Anyone who he knew or eventually became acquainted with, it just not would end well at all. So Rick joining any other place besides his family, it just would not end well. It just would not end well. What if Rick never blew up the bridge and was around for the Whisperer War and Commonwealth? Braden Douglas, I feel that it would end up either like the comics or like many of my interpretations, because I've had him live in those sagas. Even now I'm doing that. So I feel it would either end up like the comics, or it would just be making the group overpowered enough that the Whisperers and the Reapers and the Commonwealth, it wouldn't even be a threat. So it could go either way. El Honduras, hello. Welcome to the stream. Anyone who's new here to the stream, saw the description or something, and looked and saw it would be 20 minutes. I've changed it to 30 minutes. So that way, it just feels fitting. What is your next story? After What If Madison's family joined Rick, I am going to be making the next one. If you saw my community post, for those of you who haven't, I commemorated 500 subs about a month ago and teased a bunch of what ifs. After the Madison one, it's going to be What If the Governor Joined Negan, one of my most popular vids on the channel, but it is going to be a remake. So it's going to be a full story. Like What If Negan Killed Maggie? It's going to be a full story. After that, I'd have to look. Habla Español? Sorry, I don't speak Spanish. What if Peter Parker died? To be fair, I feel like that's honestly an honest question, a almost easy question to answer. Whether we're talking about Toby, Andrew, Tom Holland, any version of Spider-Man that dies, besides, Tom Holland's getting snapped out of existence, it would not end well, because that reality or that timeline would just get destroyed. It's like with any main character. It's like asking if Goku died before when the Dragon Balls were inert, or if this character died in Lord of the Rings. Any main character that comes out of existence like that, it's just not good for the story. It should be obvious, but I don't know. What if Carol died instead of T-Dog? I think someone recommended me that before, Noodle. I just don't remember who, and I don't remember if I at first wanted to make it a story or if I didn't. but Carol was a beneficial character. So I feel like her getting taken out of the story would kind of be bad, but she's not as beneficial as, say, she is alive now, even past The Walking Dead, but I don't know. She wasn't as beneficial as, say, like, Daryl or Rick or Michonne. She was a very top character, don't get me wrong, but I feel like taking her out of the equation would be like a lose-lose. But replacing her with T-Dog? I don't know. I feel like it would end badly in the end, because if T-Dog didn't die then, he would probably die when they attacked Woodbury, and then they'd be down another man. I feel like it would just end very badly. The group in that moment of getting attacked and everything because of Andrew was already bad enough, but losing Carol in that moment, it's like losing Daryl in season 2, where people have recommended I do that. Unless you replace him with Merle, which I'm going to be doing, it just does not end well. But it's still a fair idea. It's just not one I see a plausible story behind. That's all. But so far, good ideas. I have saved I don't know who recommended it to me. Let me look up here. What if Glenn died at Terminus? That was Braden Douglas. Thank you for the idea. I am saving What if Glenn died at Terminus. So, at least you'll have that. What if Gwen Stacy's Spider-Man? Before you do anything else, Sky Prison, I have to break something to you. If we're talking about Andrews or one of the other Gwen Stacy's, then honestly, a Lady Spider-Man would be like, I don't really know how to cover that, because yeah, besides what we know of the Gwen Stacy's in both the Toby and Andrew timelines, not too much to work with to make that a compelling story. And we don't even have a Gwen Stacy, I feel, in the MCU, so I can't work off anything there. If we're talking about the Spider-Verse Gwen Stacy, I've never watched the Spider-Verse movies, and nor do I really care to. I prefer the live actions over anything. But all good ideas so far, and Braden Douglas, thank you for the What If Glenn Died Terminus idea. That is saved here on the list. So that one will be done. It will just be in the future. But do not worry, it will be done. Keep the ideas coming, guys. What if Merle killed Michonne when he kidnapped her? Interesting. It's actually a pretty good idea. Yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Because if you think about it, if Merle had killed Michonne then, like he had planned to bring her to the governor, she would have died anyway. And I think someone recommended me that very same idea. Not yours, but what if Michonne was killed by the governor and traded over? But I can't be convinced that even if he did that the governor would stand down against Rick's group. I think he was planning on killing them anyway. So ultimately, it would just be getting Michonne out of the equation. Merle might still die. They would be down Michonne and would most likely die sometime in the near future, either against the Claimers or maybe Terminus. The idea seems good at first, but when you really think about it, it's hard to think of a compelling story. I think that when someone recommended, what if the governor got Michonne and killed her, I even talked to them about that, and it didn't seem like it was a very good discussion. What if Dale shot Shane when he asked for the guns? Well, Dale certainly seemed like he was going to, but knowing Dale, he wouldn't have done that. That would have been a dramatic turn for his character. That would have made him go for the worse. But that is a pretty good idea, though. I'm not going to lie. As a matter of fact, Good job, Noodle. You just got your what if saved on the list. What if Harry Potter parents never died? Matter of fact, Sky Prison, I just finished the Harry Potter franchise because I watched it for the first time, and that's one of the what ifs that I have saved for the future when I finally cover it. So just know that that idea is saved. All right, what do we got here? What if Daryl killed Dwight? If we're talking like at the end of season 8 or even beforehand, honestly, I just see him not being in Fear, and that would affect Fear's timeline, but I don't feel it would affect anything in the Walking Dead timeline. While I briefly touched on Fear with Madison's family, I don't feel like... I feel like touching more on the... Oh, when he first met him. I've actually touched on that in a few other topics, and honestly, it just affects how the story is told in those. And it depends on what topic you're looking at. But I have touched on that very same idea before. Oh, one more thing before anyone asks anything else. I wanted to touch on something important that I thought of recently. So if you guys are familiar, I've been making What If Madison's Family Joined Rick? But I've actually thought of something really cool as of yesterday. What if Rick's family joined Madison? I'm talking Rick's family from Atlanta goes to Madison's family on the boat and everything. Like, I'd center it like right whenever San Diego's getting burned and everything like that. But it's still a work in progress. I'm not going to be making that story for months on end. It's just an idea I have saved, but it's a parallel to this story that I'm making now. Because I feel that with Madison's family joining Rick, it's only right that I do a polar opposite to see how Rick's family would do in Madison's world. Because, honestly, I never thought that I'd cover Fear at all. It just seems like if I'm going to do one family's come into the universe, I should do another opposite. But that's just something that I'm working on for the future. And, yeah. Anyways, on with more what-ifs without me yammering away about future topics. Don't want to spoil too much. What we got here? I have saved What If Glenn Died at Terminus and What If Dale Shot Shane. So, Brayden and Noodle, your what ifs are saved on the list. What if... We got 2 here. What if Negan shows up early? It depends on how early. And what if Shiva killed Negan instead of the random savior? Well, I feel that if Negan would have died in that sense, the story wouldn't differentiate too much, except I feel that the saviors would have surrendered much early. There'd be more of them. We get the bridge sequence much more early. Rick might not have left. It honestly depends. Because in the sense of how late that what if is into the story, I don't see too much changing besides the few things that I said. And like I said, what if Negan shows up early? It depends on how early. What if Tara died instead of Noah? Well, Tara was already on the brink of death when she got exploded by the grenade because of Aiden. So if she were put in the place of Noah and he got injured, I'd say that maybe he survives, Tara dies in the doors, and Noah would become like the new Tara, maybe a smarter version. Or he would die and they would be down another man. Sort of like what if Carol died instead of T-Dog? You'd be down another person. And I'm not saying that because that's how it would be realistically. I'm saying that in the context of, depending on the characters, it would just depend, you know? Depends on how popular, not even how popular the characters are, but just the context of it all, if you guys get what I'm saying. But we do have 2 ideas down, so that's good. even though we got like 5 minutes left of the stream. Hold on. I've decided to change my mind. This is like the second time that I've changed my mind. But to make things really like stick out and just to make sense of it, I'm going to make each Q&A that I do 1 hour because I feel that it still feels too short. I'm sorry for changing it too much, but I feel that it makes sense to just do it an hour. I'm gonna have to make changes in the description, but it just makes sense. But anyways, season 5. Well, if Negan showed up in season 5, I feel that I have made a video stating like Negan meeting the Terminus people. That's the closest I feel to like getting Negan meeting someone in season 5. I've done What If Sophia joined Negan and What If the Governor joined Negan. So those are like earlier than season 5, if not roughly around. So honestly, that's the closest thing. What if Glenn died instead of Noah? Well, this time it's Glenn instead of Tara. So it's roughly the same question, except Glenn being taken out like that instead of like at Terminus. That's a much different idea rather than Braden Douglas's. I feel that if Glenn died instead of Noah, then Maggie would end up killing him, and I don't know. I feel that after that, the story wouldn't change too much, I feel. It's just that, I don't know. It would be definitely different. It would be a shorter reasoning and story than, like, what if Glenn died at Terminus? That seems like a much more thought out story. But for that, I feel that it's a straight up answer. If he died, Noah would have been. I don't think Noah. He could replace Tara, but not Glenn. Most certainly not. So, if he had died instead of Noah, I feel Maggie would just end up killing Nicholas, or even Noah. I don't think Noah would have it in him to kill Nicholas. Noah didn't seem like the killing type. Wasn't even sure if he wanted to kill Daryl and Carol back in season 5. So honestly, I think it would just come down to Maggie killing Nicholas, possibly getting kicked out, depends. And it would just be a whole mess, but I don't really see a way to make it into a story, unlike What If Glenn Died at Terminus. So, yeah, that's the best I can do with that one. What if Daryl and Andrea died at the CDC? Would they still meet the governor? Well, if both of them had stayed, this is an idea that I was recommended, but didn't see a plausible story. Dale not being around would make the group darker much faster, and they would not hesitate to kill Randall, because Dale is the reason that they hesitated so much on killing Randall. Even after that they had that argument and everything like that, and they didn't listen to Dale, they honored him after death, even though it didn't seem like they did. So, and even Andrea getting taken out, that would be an extra person gone. Carol might die because Andrea saved her. It would probably just end badly for the group. They could have turned darker, but I feel it would just been a great sacrifice. Because as much of a sore character Andrea was, but Lori's much sorer, believe me. And Dale was important, at least for that time. So getting rid of those two in the sense of when they were around, would have ended badly. There's no telling. What's up? What if Rick's group found Martinez before the governor? The only way I see that happening is if Daryl or Michonne found him. Because remember, no one else was looking for the governor after the war. Daryl and Michonne are the only two that went after the governor in that sense. So unless one of them came across, they would either get kidnapped or... It honestly depends. I don't see... Martinez would probably just end up killing him because, honestly... Or siding with them. It depends. I really can't say for certain how that would go. It could either end up with Martinez killing them and the whole story ending up badly, or Martinez siding with them and the governor dying, and it would just be a overkill on the part of, like, Terminus, the Claimers. The group would be bigger. It depends. But as for a story, it would be way too similar for the many of my other stories where the group has been big. Not with Martinez, because I've only included him in a select few, but it would be a little bit bigger. Stuff like that. For those of you who just came in or have been here, sorry for once again changing my mind, saying it was first 20 minutes and then 30 minutes and now an hour, but an hour just seems plausible for the sake of a Q&A. What if Coral survived? What if Carl survived? I have had him survive before, but if he survived on his own accord and didn't get bit, in the sense that he did, I can see maybe Negan getting swayed in a much more methodical way, not getting like his throat slit maybe. But as for a centerpiece character, Carl would only do so much. He would almost be... They pushed Carl a lot. His personality, the way his character was, it was just on and off. So putting him as a centerpiece to his own story, besides what if Carl never got shot, is kind of hard. Because it's just the sense of how his character was put into the story. Messi or Ronaldo? I'm sorry? Honduras, you're going to have to explain. All right, Braden Douglas. What if the governor didn't save Merle and he died in season 1? The story would go the same, except whenever I feel like Andrea and Michonne maybe wouldn't have got kidnapped and put in Woodbury, they'd still be off on their... You know what? That's actually a really good idea. I did not think of that. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. That's actually a pretty decent idea. So that's not idea number 3 for the stream. This is exactly why I switched it on to an hour, because I knew that with an hour rather than 30 minutes, we could get more than 2-3 ideas down, and it would be enough to call a good video. Which is why I want to do these an hour every Saturday, because it won't just be in the comments anymore. We can expand the horizon, really boost the algorithm of this channel, if you guys get what I'm saying. So that's idea number 3 for the channel. Or not the channel, but I mean it is for the you guys get what I'm saying. So, what was the question? Oh, what if the governor didn't save Merle? It's actually a pretty decent idea. Because then Andrea and Michonne wouldn't have likely got kidnapped. They'd still be on their own. It honestly depends. They could be on their own forever. Because it's only because of Merle that they got kidnapped. It's true that a Woodbury soldier might have seen them, but Merle's the main reason. So, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Gonna make a few more slots because I feel like we're actually gonna get a pretty few good more ideas. All right, what's next here? What if the group split up season 1? Well, if you think about it, Sky Prison, the group technically was split up in season 1. Because when Rick, Glenn, T-Dog, and Daryl all went to go find Merle, the rest of them, the Atlanta group, were back at the camp. So if you think about it, they already were split up. But if you could think of a better sense, then maybe I can come up with something else. What if Daryl killed Beta when he knocked him down the elevator shaft? Maybe Alpha kills more people. That is true, because I have had it in one story. I think it was either What If Negan Killed Maggie Remake, or What If Sophia Joined Negan? Something like that. No, I didn't even do the lineup there. The Pike scene with What If Sophia Joined Negan. That is a good point. And usually I'd say with it so late in the story, like near the end of The Walking Dead, it really wouldn't change anything. But the fact is, if Daryl had killed Beta in the sense that you're talking about, and nothing else changes from the original story, I could do that. Even though it would be similar to like one or two of my other stories, the premise, I feel the results would be inconclusively different. So, yeah, I think I'll save that. Why not? What if Daryl killed Beta in elevator? You know what? I'll make it the title even better. What if Daryl killed Beta in season 9? So that way people don't get confused, because I figured that people might get confused. What if it was Daryl that joined the governor instead? Could it play out differently? What if Merle and Daryl were with the governor? People have asked me what if Daryl was on the rooftop instead of Merle, but honestly, I couldn't find a compelling story behind that, because I don't feel that Daryl would be as reckless as Merle was on that roof. But as for the sense you're talking about, I don't really see a way that Daryl would join the governor in the sense that Merle did, honestly. Because the only way would be him being on the rooftop, and with Daryl being Daryl, even season 1 Daryl was smarter than Merle. So, it depends. What if Rick's group found the military group before Woodbury? That's a decent idea. But there weren't too many of them, and the governor took them out with ease. True, to be fair, it was a sneak attack. But as for a centerpiece story, all I can tell you is that they would have more to their group, but we barely know anything about them because the governor met them and killed them almost instantaneously. We got no development with them, no centerpiece story. It's almost like we got Randall grouped all over again with no context. So honestly, I feel that they would just have more numbers. That's all I can tell you. But other than that, I can't give you a compelling story. But we do have 4 stories down here on the list. We have what if Glenn died at Terminus? What if Dale shot Shane? What if the governor didn't save Merle? And what if Daryl killed Beta in season 9? So we are doing really good, mainly The Walking Dead, but I can see why you guys might be picking The Walking Dead. 1, because it's popular, and 2, because it started up my channel. But nevertheless, even if they are The Walking Dead ideas, it's good that you guys are recommending me these. Because not only does it help out the channel, but these are actually some pretty good ideas. Many of which that I myself, after years of looking into series like this and everything, am surprised that I never thought of these. It's really, this is why I like being on this format, because ideas. Do you watch Stranger Things? Because I got good what-ifs for that. The fact is, I watch other things kind of like that on the same platforms as that, but as for Stranger Things, I have siblings who do, but I'm not really into that show. So, sorry. And if I were ever to get into that, maybe? I can't even tell you what would happen if I even got into that, because I don't think I ever will. But yeah, it doesn't have to just be The Walking Dead. It can be other things too. Doesn't also have to be things I've done before. It could be different things. And the Stranger Things is a good example of that. I just can't give you what you ask for because I really am not into that. I've seen clips of the show and seen a little bit of it, but it doesn't interest me. But we are doing good so far. We got 4 good ideas here on the list. And I'll save those to my quick memo on my phone after the stream, including any other ideas that we may come across. Bits are real. Hello. Welcome to the stream, which is 20 minutes from being over, about an hour long, even though I've changed it like 3 times so far, but I felt an hour to be justifiable for a Q&A. They all go their separate ways. Oh, I see what you're saying. Sky Prison, you're talking about the whole group. I'm talking everyone from the Atlanta group going their own ways. That would be increasingly difficult because Rick had a family. Shane basically had no one. Morales and them went on their own, and a few other people, but putting them all on their own would be increasingly difficult and would put them in groups that I can't even think that they would realistically fit in, and it would just be a big hassle. I feel that the way that they were put in and everything like that was the best way that the story could go on. What if Morgan went with Rick to Atlanta and Dwayne? Someone recommended me that before. All I can tell you is that it would either end in 2 ways. Morgan and Dwayne being there, obviously Dwayne would live, but them being there would almost give them a better group, and Morgan would also might likely never get into his clear state of mind and never meet Eastman, but they would have kind of a bigger group, which I feel could give them a slight advantage. Or whenever Rick hides under the tank, Morgan and Dwayne try to also, and they end up dying, which would cost Morgan as a character and possibly be bad for the future of the story. And Rick might almost die too, because he would want, like, it really depends. But I feel that that would be a pretty straightforward answer. I have a good idea of The Walking Dead. Well, ask away. Do we got any more? What if the governor killed Michonne and not Herschel? Someone asked me this before, and it would not end well. It would not end well whatsoever, any stretch of the imagination. And there's one reason. The only reason that Rick was able to fight off the governor and get Carl to safety was because Michonne stabbed the governor and saved him. Without Michonne, Herschel wouldn't have been able to do much. Sure, he might have shot him or something, but I almost feel like Herschel would have died in the ensuing chaos, and the group would have just ended up so broken without Rick. Because let's face it, Rick would most certainly die. Michonne needed to be there in that sequence at least for Rick to be alive. How many kids have you what? What? You didn't have to explain. What if Morales' family stayed? Maybe one of Morales' kids go missing instead of Sophia? Well, here's the thing about that question. We know plenty about Morales, at least enough. But as for his family and the context given to us from them, I really feel that Morales is the only one we can really get true, like, character development from, in a way. And there's nothing to go off of for his family, so I can't really... That's why whenever someone recommended me what if Morales' family stayed with Rick, I just could not find a story behind it because we were barely given anything with them. Morales, we were given way more. What have you watched? Okay. I have watched Lord of the Rings. I've watched Dragon Ball, the whole thing. I have watched the Harry Potters. I've watched Walking Dead, And I plan on watching a bunch of other things in the future, but that's for the future. Have you watched Lost? Never heard of it. But yeah, Dragon Ball, Harry Potter. I'm just saying ideas that could come to the channel right now. I've obviously watched movies and other shows besides what I've mentioned, but I'm talking ideas for the channel, like what ifs. I have plenty of reviews and stuff and like discussion videos for other related things like SpongeBob and stuff like that. But honestly, for what if ideas, I've watched Harry Potter, Dragon Ball, Lord of the Rings, Marvel, and The Walking Dead. Those 5 things I've watched to put into what ifs, and I'll be watching Star Wars and other things that I'll be able to cover for the channel. All right, let's see what we got here. What if Goku married Bulma? That's actually a pretty good idea. And I had thought about doing that before. The only thing, though, is that usually I pull up pictures and stuff for like art from the internet, and I could not find any for Gohan being the son of Bulma or anything like that. But I could make Trunks the son of Goku and Bulma, but honestly, it would be a lot different because, I don't know. And I don't make my own art. I don't have a site for that or anything. So that's why I never did that story. Because it all comes down to what pictures I can find and ones that I can customize the way I can with photo overlays or collages or stuff like that. But I'll tell you what. I'll save the idea, and then I'll see what I can do with it in the future. Just know that whenever it does become a thing, I will either have the perfect art and perfect idea for it, or I'm just going to end up getting rid of it. So I'll promise you I'll try to do something with it in the future, Sky Prison. So I'll save it here on the list. So that's 5 ideas so far. All right. What if Rick never got shot? I did make a what if about that. Like, what if Rick never got into the coma? I just made that way earlier on. It has 2 parts to it. Just beware that it's kind of lacks context because that was near the beginning of my channel. So, yeah. I do plan on making a remake of that, though, like several others. So you could either watch that or look forward to a remake in the future, which will happen. What if Shane got shot in season 1 instead of Rick? Well, I can see Shane maybe meeting Morgan and having the same kind of thing as Rick did, except maybe easier because of Shane's fortitude and strength. And with Rick being around Lori, they obviously, I feel Judith would have been born. It just would have been with Rick and Lori instead of Shane and Lori. And I feel that the only change that would have happened with the story is Shane would be nicer and around the group more often. Other than that, I feel that... Oh, and another thing, Shane and Morgan would be best friends instead of Rick and Morgan. And the only reason I didn't make that into a story is because it's kind of straightforward. What if Gabriel got bit instead of Carl? Well... that's honestly kind of hard to do, because at this point in the story, Gabriel had already gotten blinded, so I feel whatever damage was done to him in that part was the only thing that you could give him. Besides, Gabriel didn't even know about Sadiq, so you'd have to switch the characters around, and that'd be kind of hard. Once again, that would date back to what if Carl survived? You'd just be taking out Gabriel. So it just comes down to Xing out a character and putting one in. So... Yeah. What if Bulma never broke up with Yamcha? Well, then Vegeta would be alone, possibly forever, and Yamcha and Bulma might have a kid, maybe Trunks, but he would be an Earthling instead of a Saiyan, which I've covered in a few of my old Dragon Ball stories. What if Maggie died instead of Alden in Season 11? Well, without Maggie, I feel the fight with the Reapers would have gone more tough. Sure, they might have maybe won, but it would have been much harder. And as for the Hilltop and Commonwealth, that whole deal, it really depends. I feel that the Commonwealth might have almost won, honestly. And Negan would feel really bad because, because he killed her husband and everything. And honestly, as much a good idea as it sounds, it's kind of hard to think about a story behind it. Because at that point, Maggie's character dying like that, I feel like what if Negan killed Maggie was the best way to take out Maggie's character in any sense? Because other than that, there's really no other way that I can think to take out Maggie's character to make a compelling story. What if Abraham fought Beta? I've had Abraham survive in a few other stories, but I never had him fight Beta. Now, if this fight were to go down, I feel that it would be a mixed batch. Abraham was definitely able to hold his own, but this fight, I feel that it would be increasingly even. Almost even, like, dead even. It could have ended in a draw, because Daryl was lucky to even fight off Beta himself. But Abraham, it would have gone one of three ways. Would have been a draw, would have been one-sided with Abraham or Beta taking the swing, or I guess it's only two-sided. But anyways, yeah. Goodbye, Sky Prison. We got about 7 minutes left in the stream, and you guys have left me 5 good ideas for the list. But that doesn't mean we can't get more before the stream's done. No siree. What if Glenn died at Terminus? What if Dale shot Shane? What if the governor didn't save Merle? What if Daryl killed Beta in Season 9? And what if Goku married Bulma? So that is what we have for now. What if Glenn never met Tara? Well, the only way I see that happening is maybe Tara dying during the Woodbury and... Well, not Woodbury. Tara during the Prisoner War, and her ended up dying there. Or Glenn just completely bypassing her and never realizing she's there. In which case, he'd probably be at the prison forever and never get out. Possibly end up just dying. Tara was kind of essential, at least until Season 6-ish, kind of. Other than that, she really wasn't an essential character. So I feel like her sense in here was needed for Glenn to keep going. And otherwise, it would have ended up with Glenn probably dying, Maggie never seeing him again, and whatever parts of Glenn that mattered after that would have been useless. Wait, what if the governor never met Tara? The only way I see that happening, if you're saying he never met Tara, then you mean he never met the Lilies. Which I've touched upon what if the governor joined Negan, and I have him joining other groups in future what-ifs. I just have them saved for the future. I haven't disclosed them yet. It's like, what if Merle joined here? Or what if Sophia joined here? Or what if or Shane, or stuff like that. Characters you could realistically put into another group. What if Maggie was killed when Patrick turned in the prison? Glenn would still be sick, and Glenn wouldn't have anything to live for. So it could have ended way more badly. And Beth would be the only one left standing. But, you know what? That's actually a pretty good idea. It could make Beth a warrior. That's actually a really good idea. See, it's good I have you guys, because I'm surprised I never thought of this crap. They're so out of this world that it makes it hard for me to, like, think of them on paper or on my phone. But hey, outlandish what ifs have been done before on this channel. Just look at what if Carl joined Negan. So I'm going to name it What If Maggie Died in Season 4, Noodle 365. Gotta name him something short and sweet. I don't want to name him something too overlong and stuff like that. What if Beth allowed herself to be traded for Noah? What if Beth survived? If Beth had survived, I've had that happen before. But with her around the group, Daryl would be a much softer person. Maggie obviously would be better off. And I feel that she would live maybe up to the wolves, if not maybe the lineup. Other than that, I feel that that's really, I feel that that's good enough to place to say about her surviving. What if Andrea died instead of Amy? Well, I have made a What If Amy Survived series, which you can check out on the channel. It was just a while ago at this point, but her dying, Andrea dying, like, at the start and not being around Amy for part of the series, unlike what I did, well, then it would be like What If Amy Survived, except Amy would be darker much, much sooner. So, I could do that. It would be like a What If Amy Survived remake. So I think I'll save that. But I'm going to name it What If Amy Survived Remake, not because I'm rebranding the series, but because the idea itself would be close to the series, if not, like, a little bit different. But I think I'll still do that idea. And I'll put in marks here. Andrea dies, so that way when I save it on my phone, I know what I'm doing. What if the governor killed Michonne when she killed the governor's daughter when they were fighting in the governor's room? That's a lot of governors. But anyways, the governor killed Michonne then? Well, of course, he would still have both of his eyes. And I feel that, like with any kind of revenge, getting what he wanted, it wouldn't make it better. Because the governor was just sick. The way he treated the Walker heads and Penny. I feel that it honestly depends. They would be down Michonne, for one thing. But the governor wouldn't have anyone to be mad at. Sure, he would still hold a grudge against Rick's group, but he wouldn't be as inclined to go to war with them. And he wouldn't have his eye. Or he would have his eye. But that's actually pretty interesting. I think I'll save that. Even though I don't know where the story would go from there, it's kind of interesting. So this way I can actually make a What If the Governor Killed Michonne story and make it reasonable. What if the governor killed Michonne in Season 3? What if Carl killed Morgan when he shot him in Season 3? Well, Rick would be utterly, completely furious with him, even though Carl didn't know what he was doing. And Morgan would... Any part that Morgan was essential on from here on out it would just come crumbling down. I feel Rick would have turned darker way faster. You know what? I actually think I'll save that because that's actually pretty interesting. I'd like to see where that story would go. So I'll just name it What If Carl Killed Morgan? Just for simplicity's sake. What if Simon was in the satellite station? What if Daryl had a log fall on his arm instead of Aaron? Well, Daryl would just be the one-armed man with the prosthetic arm, and he would be even more freaking savage than he already is, making the rest of the seasons a pretty much walk in the park. Aaron would have both his arms, which would be a help for him. Daryl would have kind of a crutch, but I feel that it would make him even more savage. What if Simon was in the satellite station? It would either end up with him getting killed or possibly escaping and just wanting to lash out at the group much sooner. But anyways, guys, we are an hour past the stream. When I changed my mind 3 times, I thought I'd be done way sooner than this. But I changed my mind for just reasons that I feel that an hour is good enough time for a Q&A. But what if Meryl met Negan, or do you already do that? Yes, I did do that. You just have to look at it. And I even made a remake, or I'm going to do a remake for that video and make it a full series. What if Jadis traded Gabriel? You either have Rick could either die after blowing up the bridge, or Daryl could find. That's kind of, that would, honestly, I feel that it would end badly. Rick would die, and the group would be even more broken, because they already thought he was dead, but when they figured out he was alive, it gave them hope. What if Aaron died when he was playing Russian roulette? Aaron wasn't that big a character, and I'm surprised he made it to season 11, so I doubt it would have mattered in the long run. I really doubt it. But guys, I will give you guys 5 more ideas. 5 more. If you guys can come up, well, besides Bits Are Real right here, I will give everyone here, including you, Daniel, 5 more ideas. After 5 are done, after this one I read from Bits Are Real, I'm closing the stream. What if Simon was with the governor's group? And after I read that one, so you guys have 5 more ideas you can put down. What if Simon was with the governor's group? Putting him in the context of the governor's group would be exceedingly difficult. You'd have to have him leave the Saviors or magically be transported to the governor's group, so that's kind of hard. But anyways, guys, 5 more ideas that I will give you guys to put down, and we'll see if we can put him safe, because we already have 9 ideas here. So I'll give you guys 5 more, well, 4 more now. What if Tyrese's group never found Rick's group? Well, one of 2 things would happen. They would either find another group like the governor's first, and the story would remain little to not changed at all, or they would die, and Rick's group would lose a few more people and possibly still get through with little to no changes, or it would end up turning badly for the entire group. So now 4 more ideas. And as for you, Daniel Prendeville, don't worry about missing anything too much. You can either go back to the stream and watch it all over again and recommend your own stuff, or you can recommend one of 3 more ideas, since Braden Douglas just put in another idea. Judith would die without Tyrese. Yes, most certainly would. So that's not another idea. So Bits Are Real just recommended 1 thing right here, and now you can put 3 more ideas. Either Daniel, you could put 3, or just in general, someone can. What if Tyrese survived? Well, if Tyrese survived, which I've had happen before, Sasha would be a much softer person, and it would be an extra asset for the group, because Tyrese, however nice he was a decent asset to the group, because he did save Judith's life. So yeah, 3 more ideas, and this goes to you, Daniel, because you were worried about missing the stream. If you're still here, you are more than welcome to recommend one of 3 more ideas before I close the stream for good. But if he is gone, and whoever is still here at the stream, you are more than welcome to recommend one of 3 more ideas before the stream is closed. What if Abraham never found the RPG? Well, to put it simply, Little Timmy and the brigade, they would have possibly, and if most certainly, killed Daryl, Sasha, and Abraham. And then Rick's group dealing with the wolves and everything most likely would have died without the help of them. Everyone would possibly have died. And the Saviors and Whisperers and Reapers and Commonwealth would all be the four groups either fighting each other. They would most certainly all fight each other. So, bad story. Bad story. All right, two more. You guys have recommended pretty good ideas in this stream here, and I'm very glad that I made it over an hour, because I definitely couldn't have gotten these ideas on my own. Possibly, but it would have taken a lot of time depending on my thinking. But two more. And I doubt Daniel's even here now. I doubt that after he said that he would have even stayed another second. What if Glenn died when he and Nicholas fell off the dumpster? Fun fact, in one of my stories, either the one was the one that I'm making now, What If the Governor Joined Negan remake, or What If Madison's Family Joined Rick, which I haven't gotten to that part yet, I have Nicholas throwing Glenn off of the dumpster. Not in the sense you said it, but it's still happening. It just honestly comes down to Glenn dying in a way that the story wouldn't really change too much. Because Maggie would not have Negan. That's not an idea, but never mind. What if Lucille didn't die? Noodle365, I did do that idea earlier on in my channel. You just have to look for it. What if Negan killed Daryl? Final recommendation. Well, if Negan killed Daryl, then any logical thing that you could think of to get rid of Daryl before, like, season 3, where Merle could replace him, you would be getting rid of an asset and a true character, because think about it. He has his own spin-off. What other character do you know that would have a spin-off that you would want to get taken out of the series any earlier than when he was, like, how long he's been in the series? Taking care of Daryl way earlier on would have absolutely killed everyone in The Walking Dead. No ifs, ands, or buts. Daryl was needed, and he still is, because he's one of the ones that's looking for Rick. Don't forget that. Besides Morgan and Michonne, he's looking for Rick. Always has. What if Tomas killed Rick? Well, then he would have died, and the group would have been leaderless. Well, that's 9 ideas down, and with all of that said, we have come to the end of the stream. So, guys, thank you all so much for your ideas. I truly appreciate the ideas that you have put forward. I will be putting them into my quick memo and saving them for the future. Whether or not they will be anytime soon, I cannot disclose, but they will be what-ifs for the future. But this stream is not the only one. Not only will I have an anniversary video coming up here in 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, something like that, September 28th, but I am going to do these every single Saturday, and you can always recommend new what-ifs in the comments below of this stream or any one of my videos or community posts. So with all that said, I truly hope that you guys enjoyed this first Q&A of mine. Thank you so much for the what-if suggestions, and I will see you guys on Monday for the old format, which will have no music anymore because the community post kind of voted for me. So, with all that said, I will see you guys on Monday, and thank you for the support.